Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to episode 6 of Lofo's Lounge. As you guys see, we have a special guest in the house. My man from my hometown, Seth Burgett. Yo, Burgett, what is up, my guy?
What's going on, Foley? What's going on? How are
How
you?
you? I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's been a long time. It's been a very long time.
It's been way too long, bro.
We've seen each other in other states and everything, man. It's crazy.
So, me and Seth grew up in the same area, small town Kentucky. Funny thing is, we actually lived near each other in Florida when I moved to Florida.
Mhm.
Uh, Tell me about that. So when did you move to Florida, or like what?
S- So before, let's right before I moved to Florida, let's talk about that. I had a little trip right
Oh,
before that. I basically moved to Mississippi for 9 months. Yeah, it was a bad time. Basically, it was kind of like a reset moment. I was 23, going turning into 24. My grandfather lived down there, and he
hmm,
basically gave me like a bailout card to
okay.
really go down there and kind of establish myself. And that was like a solid. I lasted 9 months. It was not. I realized quickly I loved my grandfather, and it was a great opportunity. And man, that was not the state I wanted to be in. So 9 months I lasted, and then COVID-19 hit.
Oh
I was
gosh.
I was pretty set up financially, so I bailed as soon as COVID hit. February, I had a buddy that lived in Sarasota, Ricky Martin, who actually played in like same areas, came from the same area as us, and played in the
That name
Brooklyn
sounds
Pee Wee League.
familiar, actually.
Yeah, you probably know. He went to Cooper. He
Okay.
was a part of their state championship team. The runner-up state champions.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, he had an Airbnb, and when everything went down, he needed renters immediately. So he called me and was like, "Dude, I got the spot. What are you doing?" And I said, "Get me out of here, please." So I ended up hustling my way over there by I think like beginning of April is when I got there, April 2020,
So is
and
that when you started doing? If for those of you guys that don't know, Seth Burgett is, AKA Burgetti. He does
Burgetti,
music.
yes sir.
How would you describe your music? Like what type of?
My music depends on what year. I've been doing it for 5 years now. In the beginning, I was a depressed little boy. Is what I call myself. It was a it was a little depressing side of things, and honestly, that's how I got into the music. I was trying to appeal to
Let that
a
stuff out.
I'm trying to appeal to a female. I thought maybe if I made a good enough song, like I could appeal, and so I was gung ho dedicated, and I
That
ended up
is
creating
life.
more out of it. It was a pretty cool experience, man. It's more came out of it than I ever expected, and it's been a good run. But I started that in 2018, so I was still early in my very early. I was only like a year and a half, 2 years into the music, and so right, I had dropped an album in January of 2020, and I had a song that popped off like crazy. It's called Paperback Interlude. So that was like the right at the brink of a
I
lot of
think
change.
that's
And
the first time I seen that, like the
yeah,
music on it. I was like, wait, Burgetti. I know it's Seth
yeah,
Burgett, and then I was like, holy crap, that's him.
yeah, man. It's pretty cool. I don't. I almost feel like imposter syndrome is what it's called, where I just don't feel like I belong. I'm like, dude, come on, Brigetti, you grew up with me. Would never in a million years, dog, would you think I'd be out here doing something like this?
Not music.
But not in general. I was a big music fan, but you could have never pictured me doing something like this. That's for sure. But ended
So
up happening.
so Sarasota, is that like would you describe it as a big town or a small town?
Mm,
Or like kind of middle town college style or
it was massive. It was very large, and it was getting bigger and bigger by the moment. At the time that I had lived there, I left in October of last year, and at that time they were saying, give or take 5 years, they were going to be the size of Tampa. I mean, they were just expanding so fast because it's a very, very big tourist area.
yeah, that's where I
Plus,
lived in
everybody.
Tampa.
Right, right, yes. So and that's a huge, huge city. There's a lot to do in Tampa. So just to say that they're going to reach Tampa's size in 5 years, I mean, yeah, it was growing fast,
Do you
growing very
prefer the
fast.
small town vibes or do you prefer the big cities now that we are adults?
Man, I kind of appreciate both.
Do you get
They both have
homesick?
their. Um, I had moments, but it was funny, man. I love my parents. I love my family. Every time I come for a visit, I was always given a reason as to why. I was like, "Yup, This is why I don't
I'm
live
out.
here anymore. Yeah, yeah. So as much as I would miss it, visiting wasn't very difficult to do at all, and any opportunity I could, I really tried to. So, but I'm here. We're here in Lexington now, so we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see what happens.
ever since I moved up here, I have not moved back, or I have not
Tell
visited yet.
so tell me about that. How did I didn't even know you were in New York until like a couple weeks ago. I was like, oh, no way.
Yeah, so I was with my ex for 5 years,
Hmm.
and both times we broke up, I've made a drastic move. That was Florida the first time, and then
Okay.
now it's New York. So I moved here
Okay.
in November, and it's been almost 7, 8 months now, and I live right dead center of Manhattan, like
Wow.
NYC,
That's
which
awesome.
is kind of crazy because this is like the most populated city, and it's so like the thing that blew my mind was somebody was talking about the actual like mileage, like lengthwise and like widthwise. It's only like 12 to 15 miles long and 5 miles wide, and there's like 3.5 million people here
Really
that like are in New York. And I was like,
interesting.
when you think about that, like that's Walton and Verona. Like I don't even know if that's the same size. Like
Mm.
Manhattan can probably fit in Walton.
Oh, easily,
And I'm like,
easily.
holy crap.
That's a lot. That's some compacted people.
And there was only like 2,000 people in Walton. I was like, gosh.
It's crazy.
So yeah, New York has been. Have you ever been to New York?
I've been to New Jersey. I had my stepfather had family that was up there. We went there when I was like 9 or 10. I mean, we got to go to like Staten Island and look at the Statue of Liberty and all that, but I don't think we actually went to New York. So
It's a crazy shit show to say the least. But there's always something to do.
good. That's awesome.
So, what got you into music besides the woman? Was it just the woman that got you like up
So
and going?
I started doing it before. Like I was in a relationship with a girl, and I don't know what. Let's see. Let me think here real hard. So if you're reading this, it's too late. That was the first album that I purchased back when you had to go and buy iTunes cards for
Mm,
99 cents and then go put it loaded onto your phone and then buy or like you had to go buy like a $10 iTunes card and
mm,
then put it onto your phone to buy 99-cent songs each. And so I had
yeah,
bought Good Kid, not Good Kid, Mad City. If you're reading this, it's too late. Was the first one that I listened to front to back and was like, that's cool. So like any typical
so
white suburban
that's
kid,
your like go to like your epitome of the music that brought you into the
that
world.
that was the one that was piqued my interest. Now I would say like I had earlier influences. I remember 2011 when LMFAO came out with their party rock anthem. Dude, I got that
Oh yeah,
for Christmas. I got that CD for Christmas and was dancing in my room that morning. I'll never forget that. That was a huge influence. These are things that I didn't pay attention to until I got older though, and didn't realize like I actually did have a thing for music and just never paid attention. Um, and then yeah, that album from Drake was different, man. And then 2014 Forest Hills Drive was like that was wild
I feel like
When J Cole
Drake
dropped that.
has a part of almost everybody's music culture now. There's at least one song or one album that Drake has, and you're just like, yeah,
He's
that's it for me.
I mean he's 6 more years of his music and he's been around 10 years, right? So they're 20 years,
Yeah, I
right?
think it's going on 20 now
Yeah, 20 years. So
because
it's
he's been
like
doing music
so
our whole
long.
life.
So long. It's crazy. Yeah, he's got a huge influence, man. So those are the two things that got me started. And I tried doing it in the beginning, like any white suburban kid just taking a shot. I feel like every person like tries to
Oh,
rap at least once, even if it's in the
I had my
backseat.
run in some
Yeah,
SoundCloud songs.
yeah.
Remember T-Bone Tyler?
Yeah.
So
Cornelius?
he actually got
Yeah.
me in the studio a couple times. And then my buddy, it was freshman year of college. I made another song. It's on SoundCloud
Yeah.
somewhere. Not gonna post it anywhere
We need
anymore,
a
but it's still on SoundCloud.
this is where he inserts the clip of his song real quick
No,
into the podcast
nope,
later.
not doing that. Um,
I'll find it,
so
guys.
so culture, what is your favorite part about like the music culture? Have you been around anybody that's like you've watched? Have you made music with anybody that you have like grown up with or listened to, or you trying to make music with anybody? or you kind of just doing your own thing?
Yeah, there's one artist that I followed a lot when I was a kid. There's actually two. One was Cam Meekins, his name was. He had this thing back in like 2010 through I mean, he still makes music now, but for a while it was called the Lamp City Family, and I was one of those like underground guys that I listened to. It wasn't like mainstream, but he was like still an influence, especially in the early years of social media and stuff. So
Hmm.
he was a huge influence. He was a white kid from, I believe, Brooklyn or the Manhattan area as well. I know he's from the New York area in general. He was solid, and we've reached out and talked back and forth about making music, and that's a cool thing to have that influence. Um, let's see here. Who else? Who's the other guy? His name is first name is Zach. He was a huge influence. Like he was one of the first rappers that I would say had a video go viral on Instagram where he was rapping and kind of had like a short video to it. And now he's huge and makes a lot of music. So there's a couple guys that I remember listening to at one time, and now it's like we're on the same level, or my numbers might be a little higher. And it's a cool thing. It's cool to be amongst these guys, and there's a lot of really good artists out here, way better than me. So just to even
So
be up here in
we
general
we
is pretty
obviously
cool.
got to ask. So being from Kentucky, there is one name that pops up in the rap game now. Uh, Jack Harlow. Have you ever heard of that name?
Yeah, very
So
familiar name.
also from Kentucky, which is like an
Yeah,
hour away from where we're at. What do you think about him and like how he's put like Kentucky? Because it came with Bryson Tiller first.
yeah.
Bryson Tiller kind of did it, and then this white kid named Jack Harlow came from Kentucky.
Mhm.
What like? How do you feel about his music or like what he's done for the state? Do you like him? Do you not like him?
Dude, absolutely, I love him. He's a huge influence on the state of Kentucky, and the fact that he's done as much as he has for the state of Kentucky, um, it's awesome. Because even Bryson Tiller, when he popped off, it was cool because we hadn't really heard of a Kentucky artist in a long while, especially like I think Dixie Chicks is the last ones that came out of the state of Kentucky. So
Besides
um,
country music kind of takes the
Besides,
cake.
yeah, you're not
But
lying. We always get a little country here and there, but in the state of Kentucky. But yeah, no, the influence that Bryson Tiller had, and then to turn around and Jack Harlow to do it the way he did, and really put the city on the map. It's really cool. It's influential. That was right about the time where I was starting to make the music, so it was a huge influence to watch him and watch him grow and do bigger things. And like Churchill Downs, man, that would go down for forever. I will play
so
that
a
for my great grandkids.
cool story. I know you know one of my buddies, Connor.
Yeah.
Um, so he was actually on FaceTime with Jack Harlow right before he blew up,
No
like
way.
huge. And I
No
think
way.
this like he was supposed to like DJ for him, or I forget the whole story behind it. But yeah, he was on FaceTime because a girl like had knew who he was and was like, "Hey, he's gonna blow up. He's gonna be
Yeah.
famous." And obviously, when you hear that, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Because
no
at the
doubt.
time, that the what was it the song that blew up?
First one I think that I heard was Sundown. I'm on tap on this
It
synthetic
was there was an
sundown,
old video
45
of
minutes to the.
him. Yeah, I know that one. There was an old video of him, and I don't know, remember what it was. It was a music video, but everybody's like, "Oh, he's gonna blow up," and I don't know if anybody believed it, but obviously things happen. But yeah, Connor still
Yeah,
has a picture of him on FaceTime with Jack Harlow,
that's
and I'm
so
like, "Yo,
cool.
that's legendary."
That is. That's
Um,
so legendary. That's
so
awesome. Shout out to Connor.
music, continuing on. Um, I know you know of AI, like the automated generated stuff. Do you think that is going to be a good thing for music, or do you think it's going to be like terrible for music?
I really don't know, man. I'm not. I don't feel like I'm educated enough on the subject to really even say anything. But
But you seen the Drake thing, right? Where they made a whole Drake song that sounded
right, but
just
that's
like
like
him, the whole
that's
groove,
that's
and it wasn't
that's
him.
ripping him off though. Is my conflict like
That's what I'm saying. It could like the song was great, and it was like super crazy, like oh, it was hype, but
yeah,
it wasn't him.
right.
So do you
And so
think
like
this could?
even aside from that, like Kendrick Lamar pulled off that deep fake in his music. I
Mhm.
don't know if you watched that. Right before he dropped his album, he dropped a song, and there was an album or video that went with it where he deep faked like five different faces. One of them being, um, oh my goodness, the rapper that got shot.
King Von?
No, not King Von. Nipsey Hussle.
Oh, okay, Nipsey.
So he deep faked Nipsey Hussle's face on his face in the music video, and it was 100% dead on. And it's interesting because if you can do that and then turn around and also do AI voice, it's like how you basically just make anybody say anything at that point, and that's scary.
I I thought it was funny because like if they can make a whole song, what if I was Drake? What I would do is take all these songs, and because it's your like name, it's your like voice that they're recreating, make an
Yeah,
album of it and just take the sales and like
yeah.
because he already gets those like, oh, he's a ghostwriter, all that
I feel like
stuff.
that would take the fun out of the making of music. Though that would almost be like farming music.
But I mean, they're already like trying to make money from his voice, and it's like the song was
True.
good. I don't know if you've heard it. I'll have to send it to you after.
I feel like I have. I've heard a lot of different things with a bunch of different artists. That I mean, dude, they've gone as far as putting Patrick Starr out here doing songs. You can literally find YouTube of Patrick Starr doing classics.
Was it
It's
good?
crazy. It's good, but it's funny because it's Patrick Starr's voice. So it's like,
So I seen the Instagram picture of your plaques. What was it like? 3 million, 5 million? What do we hit
yeah,
so far?
yeah. I've got. These guys are old too. The Conflict. I got these back in 2020, so there's so many more. They've got so much higher numbers now, but one for 2 million, another one for 2 million, the other one's for 5 million.
So
One of the two.
does
One of the two.
Spotify like send you those once you,
Um, so the
or
way
how
it
does it
works
work?
is there's actually a company called Jukebox Platinum, and they make all of the plaques from the Spotify plaques all the way to the platinum and gold record plaques that you see artists, mainstream artists make. Um, and so what we did is at the time, I just asked the label to reach out, and so the label went out of their way to go out there and order those for us. So I'm assuming it's a
Hmm.
label thing per thing versus
So
this
you're a part of a label,
Spotify actually. So yeah, I signed to Corporate Records and Entertainment back in 2018.
and
And
you're
so that
still
was
with
kind of
them
what.
until.
Yeah. So what I did is I did what's called a distribution deal, where they kind of just I send them a song, and they go out of the way to playlist pitch it, promote it, put product into it to make it
Behind the scenes
more
stuff.
more viewable. Yeah, yeah. So a lot of the things that require a lot of work most of the time, and in return, I just give them a percentage of the revenue that we get back on the song back to them. And so I've been doing that with them for 5 years, and that was another thing that really was able to transition my music too, because the songs I was using in the beginning of my career had a sample in it, and that sample was an artist that was signed to Corporate Records and Entertainment.
Mm,
So by signing to them, I was also able to do clear those samples. Well, that artist
okay.
at the time I had maybe 10,000 monthly listeners. That artist had like 400,000 at the time, and that artist's name was Shallow Dynasty. So I was able to be attached with them, and that was what it was able to give a lot of my work traction early in my career, and really making those numbers start to change. Was having her a part of that and getting those samples cleared. It just put it on
You say
a bigger
her?
level. Yeah, it is a female. Shallow Dynasty is a female.
Are you kidding me?
Nah,
That is
serious.
you learn
You
something new
can
every
you can
day.
so if you just go on Google and type in who is Shallow Dynasty, you get a full lengthy. I don't know what happened to her, but her name, yeah, there's all kinds of information about her out there.
Yeah, I've seen the name in different things. I don't really remember where, but I've always seen that name attached to like
Well,
different music.
do you remember XXX,
Yeah.
the rapper? So he dropped that album called 17, and
Hmm.
like three songs on there had a Jocelyn Flores sample on it, or had a Shallow Dynasty sample on it. One of those songs being Jocelyn Flores. If you ever go listen to that
Oh, that's
super
her.
depressing song, yeah. So in the background is Shallow Dynasty.
That okay? That's
Yes.
probably
So
the main
that
thing.
was what like really transitioned a lot of things, because at the same time I was given three samples and turned those into three beats and dropped those 7 8 months after he dropped that album, and suddenly everybody was like, "Who is Shallow Dynasty?" So
Hmm.
boom, suddenly I had a sample in it. And people were wanting to listen to more product of her. So by being able to be a part of that, I was able to get a little bit of traction on that. And it was cool. It was cool to have a fan base. Um, I just the hard part was staying with it, because sooner or later I figured my way out of the depression, and figured myself out, got my emotions in check, and so it's like I can't pretend to be depressed and make depressed music anymore. So
That's
sooner or later
so.
we transitioned.
That's the thing. Like, I don't know if you like keep up with the TikTok that I post, all the videos and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. You
Um.
post?
Oh yeah. That's like where this
Oh,
has come from.
I actually just
Um,
downloaded TikTok now, so I am gonna go check that out.
so yeah,
That's
I've
funny.
gained somewhat traction, and like I think I'm at almost 10K followers just
Oh,
on
I'm about to look
TikTok.
this up right now.
And yeah, because it's I started with just like the sad boy, like the videos and all that
Yeah,
stuff, and then it's like okay, because we all go through. It was like the COVID time when I started downloading TikTok and made a couple videos, had some fun with it. And then after a while, I started posting like the sad content, the relatable content, breakups, all that
yeah,
stuff. And
yeah.
then I went to therapy, and I'm like, okay, and now I'm happy. Now I don't like have these like the sad thoughts. How can I relate?
I found them, guys.
That is me.
Oh, I love it. We're gonna check it out.
But
Sorry.
yeah, I started getting followers and followers, and then I started going live. So I started
Yeah.
doing live TikToks because you got to hit like 1,000 before you can start going live, and then
Okay.
that's when people just started joining. I get anywhere from 50 to 250 people in the lives all the time
Oh,
now.
snap. Okay.
And instead of doing like everyday, well, I still do everyday lives, but then I started, okay, people are listening. Yo, let's create a podcast. And that's where we are today. So that
Nice, man.
has, I'm end up going to launch a shop from it too,
Yeah,
websites, all this stuff.
you got it all.
So that's what we're going to
Nice.
work on.
I love
So
it, man.
what is your end goal, or like where do you see yourself in the next, we'll do 3 years with music?
Um, I will see. So obviously, like I'm 27 years old now. That doesn't mean that like so. For example, Macklemore's Thrift Shop. He was 32
Mm,
years old when he dropped that song, right?
yeah.
That's what made him. That's what made him him. So I don't know yet because my conflict was when I was like 23, 24, 25. I was like, I'm only gonna do this till I'm 30. I was like, you're too old to be rapping after that. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in 3 years. But I've got a lot of product that I'm putting out right now. I found a really cool studio out here in Lexington called Doge Recordings, and great producer in there by the name of Steve, Dr. White, and he's phenomenal. So I got a lot of product that we're pushing out right now. We're gonna do videos alongside of that next and drop those out and just put as much content out as possible because that is the key to a lot of traction. As you see on like on your TikTok, the more content you do, the more people that want to
Mm,
follow and pay attention to your stuff. It's just staying consistent with that. Um, so yeah, we'll see what happens, but just gonna push out a lot of content and just enjoy ourselves. See, the biggest hardest part is like not getting in the way of my own self by putting too much pressure on me to perform or to make this or that or got to be perfect. Like I've stopped mid dropping songs. I think for the last 7 months, 8 months, just because I got too critical of myself and didn't like any of my work. Every time I put something on for somebody, they're like, "Oh man, when are you gonna drop this?" So it's like I just got to release the music and continue on.
hmm So you're
So
like, this is where I see, because I do talk to music people, like different music people. I've met music people up here that like release,
mhm.
and obviously my roommate Courtney, who you know,
Yeah,
she does music, and she's a singer, so it's I guess it's a little bit different. So you can just sing when you want, and it does its
kinda.
thing. But when you have a song that's released and it does like your top numbers,
Hmm.
do you always sit there and compare your new music to that top song? Like, is it gonna top this?
It can
Is
have that effect. Yes, obviously, when you have that success, it's we all want that success. It brings almost like a level of dopamine to your brain when you have that success. So yes, at times you can start to compare, but the only person I try to compare to myself to is myself, right? How good am I doing compared to my last song? Um, yes, it can get in the way sometimes, but um, you learn over time that it's the continuous creating a constant behavior out of it and just continuously dropping songs. Sooner or later, content's going to hit, something's going to happen, right? It's just a matter of staying consistent with it. Um, so yes, it does have an influence, but we've learned how to get past that and try to stay focused on the task at hand. Yeah.
okay. So this is one of my last questions for you.
All right.
Who is your top three right now?
Top three right now.
It
That's
can be
tough because
just
there's so many
artists,
influence.
artists
Even
in
when
general, rappers. What like who? If you're getting in the car, who are your top 3 people that you're playing in the car.
Okay. I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna. Okay. All right. Listen. So first and foremost would be Kendrick Lamar, right off the bat, hands down.
Okay. He's going on tour again.
Is he?
Yeah, he's got like, I don't, it's not really a tour. It's like he's doing like 5 shows across the country. One
Okay.
of them's in New York. I might go. It's the 10 year of Acid Rain.
Okay. Love it.
It's 10 years, bro. I
That's
can't
been a
believe that's
long
been
time.
out.
I don't want to think about it. I don't like the fact that I'm 27. Um,
Nope, me
it's
either.
bad. I like to be in bed by 9:30 now, guys. This is crazy.
9:30 is perfect time. So we got
So
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar. I would have to say Eminem. I got to throw Eminem in there for myself,
Eminem.
for my sake. Like he's such an influence, especially for such a culture that's not ours. I mean, he was still able to walk in there and just do the same thing and a
Tear it
little bit
up.
just as good, if not better, and really show that anybody can do that. So Eminem, and that third one, that's a tough toss up. There's so many artists that I listen to. Um, I'm gonna have to go with that with J Cole, man.
J. Cole.
Just yeah,
Okay.
bar for bar, man. I love his work. So those are my 3. Obviously, I like Drake. Drake. I don't even want to put Drake in my top 3 because it's like
He's
it's
in
Drake,
everybody's top
dog.
3.
We're not. Come on. It's Drake. I'm not gonna. He's not in my top 3. He's good. He's great. He should be. He's really good. But I don't count him as talking about artists because he's like a maxed out player on NBA, bro. It's like, come on, you don't
He's got all
count
gold badges right now.
And so does Kendrick. But if we're picking between the 2 maxed out players, I'm picking Kendrick. Not gonna lie.
They did. Somebody was releasing a video that like I can't relate to Drake anymore because anything he says doesn't make sense because
Yeah,
he's
bro.
that next level of rich.
It's like I'm not even in the same tax bracket as this guy. It doesn't make
I don't
sense.
even. He's up there with Bezos at this point.
It's crazy. It's crazy, man. He's got
But
his
yeah,
own league in his house.
that is the end of my questions. I'm gonna flip it around to you. Do you have any questions? Do you have anything else you wanna say?
Yeah. All right. So let me see here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see here. So I actually don't have anything prepared. But
That's the
I do.
fun of this.
I
Never
don't
do.
worry. I can think of some things. So it's funny, man. Me and Logan, like, we played in an all-star game together when we were like 12,
Tiny,
maybe
tiny.
11,
It was.
like
It
young.
was
I
a
didn't
good
even know him.
cheat.
Didn't even know him. Showed up at Walton, Kentucky one day, 8th grade, and found out there's this freaking stud on the football team. And as I was a freshman, he was a sophomore, just tearing up these JV games. It was a good time watching him and T-Bone run around these little kids. So as far as questions, man, you know what was the biggest surprise out of yourself so far from since you graduated to now? Like as far as where you are now, what's one of the biggest things that surprised yourself currently?
Well, obviously, where we're from, not a lot of people are born there, they live there, and they die there
Stay
for the most
forever.
part.
Yup, 100%.
Um, at one point, I was in a position where I thought I was going to be one of those people,
Me too. Yeah, that's why I went to
and
Mississippi.
like, so went to college, did all that stuff, and then
Yeah.
moved back,
Where'd you go
and
to
I was
college?
like, Eastern Kentucky,
Okay, yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
down at EKU, out there
Yeah, yeah.
partying all the time,
I bet.
and I was like, yo, I'm not really doing much, just staying in the state. Then I started traveling a little bit. I started going to
Mhm.
different states. Started with like obviously the Nashville, the Floridas. I started branching out, and I was like, yo, there is way more than life in Kentucky.
Yeah,
So
so
then I
much
started
more.
moving.
Mhm.
Moved to this is the 6th state that I've lived in now,
Really?
and yeah, and I
What's the other
plan to
5?
move. Ohio, different parts
Okay.
of Ohio, Tennessee, Indiana,
Interesting.
um, Florida. Down when we lived there, I lived in
Yep.
4 different parts of Florida, which was
Nice.
that was like once I moved to Florida, I was like, okay, life is definitely way better in Kentucky in different
Oh my
areas.
lord. Yeah, it was
And
crazy.
then now I'm in Manhattan, so this has been the craziest experience. Obviously, where there's like I see millions of people every day that are in and out. So now my next goal is to move to Europe.
Whoa, we're at in
So
Europe.
not sure yet. I've been learning Spanish. I'm trying to become
Okay.
fluent. I might go back to college and get some type of associates in like Spanish,
Okay.
just to be able to be fluent and like get a
Yeah.
job over there.
Oh yeah. That's awesome.
So
That's awesome,
that
dude.
is the next goal.
I
And
like it.
I'd say the biggest thing is like the change, like the growth, the confidence, and everything that I do now. It's just like
Yeah.
boom, and I'm just
Yeah.
doing it. Like I don't think twice. I'm just like to whereas back then I'm like, oh, I don't think I could do this. I don't. I'm
Right.
scared to get on a live video, and now it's just like I don't care who listens, who's doing what. I'm just doing it.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
sure it's the
I hear
same
you,
with
brother.
you.
Yeah. Biggest thing, man. I thought I would have had a kid by now or something, and I none.
Hey, no
I
baby
thought,
squad.
hey, if any, no, I don't mean to yell in this mic, but if anybody in this world thought somebody's gonna have a kid, it was this kid, right?
That's everybody in the world was like, yo, either on purpose or an accident, this guy's gonna
Like
pop a
how
kid out.
how how you gotta be shooting blanks. I don't know how he hasn't done
Uh,
it yet.
well, especially after because college was one thing, high school was one thing, but being in like a 5 year relationship, bro, it was like everybody's like, oh, when's it happening? When's it happening? When's he getting married? When's he doing this? I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's a long
uh,
time, man. How old were you when you got like what were the age lengths from the 5 years? Like how old when when it started to when it ended?
so it was 22 to like
27?
August, July last year when I
Really?
right before I moved here. So
Yeah.
27.
So did you go
So
through the break up, get back together, break up, get back together, break up, get back
we
together?
we did that twice. Yeah, that's when we broke up the first time. I moved to Florida.
Yeah, I hear you.
My
I
thing
met
is
a
I don't do drugs. I don't like drink a lot. I just move states. That's my little
that's his
toxic
adrenaline
breakup.
rush, guys. It's about as
Yeah.
crazy as he gets it, man. This is a different Logan than I used to know. I'll tell you what.
I, so the
it's cool, man.
craziest thing,
It's cool to see your growth. I'll tell you what, man. It's really cool.
the craziest thing that when I tell people is like that they never believe me is no matter like how crazy I've been or like what I've done, I've never done a drug.
Never done a drug.
Never done a
I
if
feel
you
like I
count
believe that. I
weed,
feel like I remember you advocating that you didn't do drugs in high school and stuff.
unless you count weed, I don't really count weed because a plant, everybody's tried weed at least
In
once.
high school, it's a drug. That's about it.
Yeah.
Back in 2012, 2013, it was a drug.
But now like it's legal here, so it's like I
Yeah,
dabble into it every once in a while, but still I don't even like that. It makes me feel like just slow.
yeah, I hear
But
you,
that's the
brother.
biggest thing that like people like never believe or like not even like an Adderall. I can't even take like medicine for like when I get sick. Like my stomach just flips out.
Really,
So that's why I feel like I can't do that.
I hear you. Nice, man. Yeah, no, I would agree with you, man. The growth is was monumental. Learning realizing the small mindedness that's inside of the confines of Walton and Northern Kentucky is very interesting, and even just the state in general. Moving around definitely helps you. I'm very grateful to have moved around. I actually kind of did the same thing as you, but it was only over like 2 years. I think I met a girl in November of 2020 in Florida,
It's always a girl.
uh, and she was phenomenal. Well, best experience ever. I mean, we had our moments in the relationship where it wasn't great at all, but she was
I
the first
think I've
person
actually
to,
seen her because we chatted a little bit when we were both in Florida. When I was in
yeah, right,
Clearwater and
right,
you were in
yeah.
Sarasota.
So her name was Alexia, and she was from New
Yep.
York, but she was French background, like full French background. She could speak full perfect French. It was the most beautiful thing ever. She was gorgeous, great
I see why you
personality
moved.
too. Oh, dude, it was great. So she was the first person where when we had troubles, like she mentioned like some type of like therapy, right? She mentioned some type of couples therapy. Let's go check it out. And so we did that. And after like 2 sessions, we kind of realized that there was just individual things that we needed to work on separately. And that was huge, man, because taking that road and taking that risk and letting myself be vulnerable in that aspect where most people would not and usually walk away or just kind of have an opinionated feeling maybe about it. I was willing to take those steps just because I trusted what she was trying to accomplish with us, between us, and taking those steps. I was able to unpack a lot of things that I had been through and kind of let those things go. And that was what helped me really mature a lot as far as a person goes. And I'm very grateful for those aspects in that relationship. I know even though we had downfalls and high moments, like the entire thing I wouldn't change, because I would not be the person that I am now at 27 um, if I hadn't gone through that.
So
Like the
like
thing.
you done the couples thing. Have you ever done it like solo, like personal?
Yeah, so after 2 sessions, that's what we realized, we had individual things that we need to work on. So we ended up going separately. Like it was the same therapist, but we would go individually whatever time we needed to at whatever day during the week that fitted our schedule. And I did that for almost 2 years with this lady, and it was very hard, very hard to go through, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was a lot of emotion and a lot of unpacking, but everybody's got a closet full of skeletons, and I wouldn't trade them for anybody else. It's what makes me me, and to be able to go through that and have that experience. Most people don't do that until they're in their 40s, 50s, 60s, when the marriage is coming to
It's too late almost.
a bad, yeah, right, yes. So when I realized that, I was like, I'm very grateful to have gone through these. Like, most people hate relationships and breakups, and it tears us apart. And I went through that with my music in the beginning and all that, but the second time around with this girl, it was different. I really took that head on, and changed everything for me, man.
Are you
And
guys still
even though
together?
it's no, we broke up back in January of 2023. We finally called it quits, and it it had to happen, man. We were really pulling each other like, when I say pulling each other apart, we were making it difficult, because I had we kind of come to an end, and I moved here. I was like, I'm done. And I decided to go back. My rent went up so high, and I was like, I got to move back. So I went back, and she called me, and she would like want to make it work. And this was like November of 2022. So we tried to do like a long distance thing for, it was 2 months. She
That
came
never
here, bro.
works.
And listen, man, like, that chick loved me, and I loved the shit out of that chick. She came here. Hold on one sec. She came here for like a week to Kentucky, bro. This chick from New York, French background, doesn't need me at all. She's independent as shit. Came all the way to Florida. Came all the way to Kentucky for a week just to kick it with me in December, right? And that was a good experience, man. So we just couldn't make it work, and so we decided to let it go, and we did it in a respectful manner in the end. But I learned so much from that, and I really
Do
appreciated
you
that relationship.
still talk?
No, we don't. It's
No contact at all.
no. I did
Don't
reach out
follow
to
each
her,
other.
like, I had to unfollow, bro. So for me, it's like a boundary aspect. In order to be able to get over that, move past that, I can't look at that every day, right? It's tough. So it started out like muting everything, but there was one time, like, I reached out to her, I think like 2.5, 3 months ago, and I think I said it in a sentence in a weird way, but I was basically just saying that, I'm glad that you look very happy right now, and I'm happy to see you feeling that way, or something like that. But I realized afterwards, reading, I was like, oh, that probably didn't come off the way I meant it to.
Were there a few drinks involved before you sent that?
No, nah, I don't actually, bro.
Sober?
I
Oh,
actually don't. I don't drink. That's the. I'm not much of a drinker. I've never really
at
been
all.
much of a drinker. Man, if I go out with
Smoker?
friends, I'll. Yeah, yeah, left-handed,
Yeah.
left-handed cigarettes, guys. If you know what that is.
Fair.
Anyways, but yeah, no, there was no drinks involved. I tried to say something, and I feel like I just didn't think about it
Botched
before I
it.
sent it. Botched it. Yeah. So she read it, didn't respond, and for me, I was like, that's fine. She has
That's
she
the
has her
sign
own
right
choice,
there.
and so I just moved on from it. And yeah, I'm not upset about it at all. I mean, it's unfortunate it didn't work out, but the experiences and the things that I gained from it were crazy.
It's a
Never would have
lesson.
if I hadn't stuck around, for sure. So
Well, shoot. Yeah, you've ran me dry of questions that I had. I don't know if you have any questions, any statements that you want to end it on. We're getting up to
mm,
40 minutes. This is
I
double my
seen that. I
episodes.
just looked up at it. I was like, dang, so much for 15 to 20, man.
I
But
know.
hey, this was a personal one. We go back. So it was, I want to say I appreciate you so much. As soon as I saw you posting this, I had to reach out and be a part of this. I love the fact that you're even taking this. Most people don't take these risks. And if they do, it's usually a lot later than they wanted it to be. So the fact that you're doing this, I love it, man, and I can't wait to see what you do with it. And I hope it takes you far.
I appreciate it, man. I'm happy for your success in the music. I
Thank you.
think we actually got a new song dropping tonight.
Tonight,
Is
tonight.
that correct?
That's correct. We got it's called Unapologetic. I made it like a year and a half ago and stashed it because I thought it wasn't good enough. So dropping tonight, midnight. Go check it out on
Uh-oh,
every
new
streaming platform
Burgetti.
possible. Yes, sir.
I'll see if I can post your ads on to the podcast.
Okay.
Is it just Burgetti on everything?
Um, Something like that. Burgetti, I think 2 underscores or something like
Okay,
that. But
but
yeah,
yeah,
you
I'll
basically
text you
just
after this, and then we'll get it
perfect.
figured out.
Awesome.
But
Well,
I
man,
appreciate you for hopping on the cast. I
thank you
love
so
you,
much for
brother.
having me. Love you
If you
too.
ever want to come back on here, feel free to reach out. I'll reach
Oh,
out to you too.
we're definitely gonna have another one. I might wait till next season or something. Whatever you're trying to, whatever you're doing, I'll give some people some opportunities before I jump back in here. But
For
I
sure,
look
for
forward to that
sure.
opportunity.
All right,
So,
my brother. I'll shoot you a
all right, man.
text. I love you.
Love you, bro. Peace. Peace.